All right, guys, I wanted to show you real quick what our personalized learning is kind of turning into and looking like. I just graded all these, so that's why they look pretty nice and neat. Usually, there are papers everywhere. But back here is where our learning guides are, and each kiddo has a star, as you can see. And each kid has a colored sheet. The colored sheet is their learning guide, so you see different colors. It means that they're on different units. And so on each unit there are different lessons. So like this one has 6 lessons, 5 lessons here, 4 lessons here. So they're all at different lessons. And what they do is they will go and they'll start on whichever lesson they are on based on their pre-assessment. So let me see. So this girl right here, she took the pretest and they're on the pretest. There's just 4 questions, and she got the question that pertains to lesson 1 correct. So she was able to skip lesson 1 and jump to lesson 2. And so they keep track of, what they're on, so she's on unit conversions, and she's on lesson 2. So when she's ready, she comes over here to, I love our flexible seating after school. She comes over here to our filing cabinets, and they're all labeled with the lessons that are inside. So she was unit conversions, yeah. So let's see. Here we go, unit conversions. So she finds this. I got smart. Instead of putting all of these, I just put 1, 2, 3, 4. Learned along the way, guys. And then instead of printing like all separate ones for each lesson, I just printed lesson and then I write it on there. It's much easier. So then they open the drawer, and you'll see the different lesson folders. So she was able to skip lesson 1, so she doesn't have to mess with lesson 1. So she's looking for a lesson 2, and here you go. So she takes out the whole folder. She grabs by the label, and of course we had to teach all this, or I had to teach all this. There's no we, it's me. And so like this is what the lesson folder looks like. They get the folder, they take it back to their desk. So she double checks to make sure it's the right folder. She reads the target, and then she can do any of these 3 things in any order. I generally like to tell them and she can also do this in any order. I generally like to tell them to start with the mini lesson. So then they have the mini lesson, which this is also an electronic copy. We're not 1-to-1 here. So instead, I have this and folders. Otherwise, I would just literally have them on the computer. But these are all uploaded on their Classroom. So they would go to the Classroom, Google Classroom, and find this specific lesson, and then they can click on these links because these are all links. So usually I get the teacher mini lessons from YouTube, or I create them. A couple of them I had to create because I didn't like them, or I didn't think anything, was great on there. And then so they have a practice for each lesson. It tells you how much you might have to get right to move on. And it, just shows you in here. The practices are always inside the folder. So they open the folder, and I got another thing that I learned, put multiple practices in here, because at first I was just doing 1, and then the folder I'd have to go back and fix all the folders. So I put multiple of the same practice in here so that the folder can be, once the student finishes, the folder can go back in the filing cabinet in the right spot for the next student. So what the student would do is they take out the practice, and then they can do the practice at their desk. If they get 4 out of 4, so they know if they get 4 out of 4, sometimes they will have QR codes. This one doesn't, but some of my lessons I have linked to QR codes right here. And so they use the iPad to scan and check their answers. Some, they're like games, or some are more subjective. And I've just gotten kind of tired of having to make the QR codes. It's a lot of extra work. And right now, a lot of students, as you can see, are on different levels. So it's actually working out where there's more talk, and students teaching students and coaching students. If they actually finish the practice and go check in with someone who's already done this lesson, and then that person can coach them and see if they got all the practice correct. If they get the practice correct, they can move on to the exit slip. If they do not get it correct, then they have 3 options, and the 3 options are here. They can go to the LearnZillion video that's linked on this checklist. they can go to the Khan Academy video. Sometimes I have multiple. Or they can meet with a coach. And the coach can be, you can put up, first you can go and check with peers, who we call coaches because we're trying to coach each other. And then if no one helps you understand it enough, you can come and get me. The Post-it note system was an idea, but I noticed that I'm just too busy and trying to work with students one-on-one through the whole lesson, so it's just easier if they come ask me. Also, when I come over to them, because I am literally going around the room the entire class period. So that's what that is. And then, of course, I put this back in here. That was lovely. Sorry, I probably just made you nauseous. And then when they're finished with the exit slips, so I actually have, I'll show you where they get the exit slip from. They come up here to get these drawers. They're falling apart. But they come up to these drawers because this way I can tell who is on an exit slip. If I put them back there or in the folder, I would never know who is on an exit slip. So I have them up here. Yeah, these drawers are breaking. That's all right. And again, they're labeled. So she would find unit conversions, and I have all unit conversions exit slips. She opens a drawer up, and she is looking for... sorry, they're old folders. She's looking for lesson 2, which is actually right here. So exit slip 2. And then she opens a folder, and here's all of exit slip 2. So she would do this exit slip. I'll show you an example of it. I created all the exit slips. I mean, I pull questions from online, but I created them so that I could score it easily, and I specifically know each question that's on here. When they finish the exit slip, they take their exit slip, and they can do the exit slip in the hallway. They can do it here, wherever they need. So they take their exit slip and they put it up on their star or their clip. And when they put it up here, it goes in front of their colored page. So for instance, like this student, well, I've already graded them all, but it would go in front of the colored page. That tells me quickly that they've done an exit slip. If I see colors, like a bunch of colors up here, or like, you know, if I see the student has, at the end of the class, still has this in the front, I know that they need to take a lesson home to finish, or I know that I need to check in with them the next day because maybe they're not getting it, or maybe it's they're just not using their time wisely. Then I started to try to grade them as the class went on, but I realized I was doing more grading during class than getting with the kids. And so I was like, this is not going to work. And so multiple weeks ago, I changed my mind and I told them, instead of waiting for me to grade your exit slip, go on to the next lesson. So this way kids were able to move faster. They didn't have to wait for me to grade their exit slip. They didn't have to sit through a lesson if they understood it. And I'm seeing so many students that are generally really struggling, like struggle with math or struggle with understanding. I'm seeing them loving it and getting excited when they get to move on. And, you know, a student today came up to me that, you know, sometimes sleeps in class and sometimes just, you know, is just bored with a whole group lesson and things like that. And he was like, I got through 3 practices and 2 exit slips, Miss Falcone. I can't believe I'm so proud of myself. And, you know, I went and graded his exit slips and everything, and he got all of them right. So it wasn't that he rushed through it. It was that he was understanding it and could move faster. And I'm seeing a lot more confidence coming from these kiddos. So then I'll show you what I do when I grade. So then after school or before school, whenever I have a second, or when I say a second, an hour and a half to 2 hours to grade, because it takes a long time to grade all these. It's fine, because usually they have multiple done. So for instance, let me get a good example. They're all good. They're all fine. I'll just use this one. It's fine. So the student, when they're finished, I come up and I grade them, and I, you know, give them a 1, 2, 3, or 0 at the top after I've graded him, and then I record that onto this the learning guide, the colorful page, over here, as well as date it. If they got a lower score, then I put the initial so that they can go back and fix it. So like this one, she got a 3. So I put my date because, and then I put over here as well in the date, because she can fix this. Like, there's no need to say, okay, sorry, too bad, you got a 3 out of 4, and that's it. You can't, like, I want her to go back and look at this and see what mistake she made and fix it and understand it, you know? And so then she can put it back up here, and I'll make sure, check it, see if she got the right answer, and I'll give her a 4. Like, I want them to grow. I don't want them to be perfect right off the bat. So that's what I do for that. That's why hers is in the front, because she still needs to fix it. So when she comes in tomorrow, she'll see that, or if Kimberly doesn't have her baby, but she'll see the white page in front, which tells her it's an exit slip, and she must have gotten something wrong. So she needs to go back here and check it and fix whatever was wrong, and then put it back up for me to grade the next day. I don't believe in a one chance and that's it. When they finish all of their lessons, so when they finish all of their lessons, 1, 2, 3, 4, however many lessons there are. So I'll show you this example, because I actually have been changing this and adapting it as we go along. So this one here is my most recent, and I'll probably still change it even more, but of course I'll update and let you all know, through the blog that I haven't posted yet but want to post. But for example, so this person finishes all 5 lessons, right? And here I put the standards. Again, this is a change that I made that I'm liking so far, but we'll see. We'll probably make more changes. And I took away the things that I wasn't using. Like I wasn't using these, and so I took them away. Anyway, at the end, when they totally finish all 5 lessons, they make a connection to how they're going to use this in the real world. Like, why are we learning this, right? I think math, sometimes kiddos, especially when you get older, are like don't understand what and how they're going to use this in the real world. So they make a connection of some sort. Then they decide, and I love this person already has gone ahead and decided what they want to do. She can definitely change her mind, but I love that she's already thinking of what she wants to do. So then they choose, they can do a test or they can do a project. The project, I don't have any guidelines on. It's more choice. They get to choose and demonstrate their knowledge through other ways than just pencil and paper. So the project, they could do a slideshow. They could do a poster. I've had a student do a poster. I've had students make games that are then in our classroom, so that students, when they finish earlier, are ahead of me, because some kiddos get ahead of me in creation of the lessons. They can play those math games that they've actually created themselves, which is really cool. So they choose a test or a project, and then they can decide. We have a backpack of skills in JCPS, and they can decide if they think that this unit was backpack worthy. So they decide, like, were they using effective communication? Were they an emerging innovator? Were they prepared and resilient? Oh my goodness, the resiliency in this. But they decide, is this whole unit worthy of backpack, being a backpack artifact? And then we haven't done this yet. Again, this is kind of a new thing to make sure that we're even pushing them even further, because I realized what they're doing is super backpack worthy and super amazing, and oh my gosh. So what they would do, in the backpack, is demonstrate how they've grown, demonstrate how they've changed, demonstrate the conversations that they've had. So that is how our personalized learning is working, how it's kind of been changing, some advice, some tips, and I'm going to be posting all of this onto Teacher Pay Teacher, as well as hopefully writing it down in a blog when I get a second. It's just so much with this, but I'm seeing a lot of success, so I'm excited to share it with people. All right, peace out.